Many fighters have had a long journey of ups and downs in their career to earn themselves a title shot where they eventually became a world champion. However, there are some fighters who have had a little easier journey where they were quickly able to earn themselves a title shot and they captured the world title. So here is 5 fighters who quickly became world champions. Number 5. Joanna Jędrzejczyk made a UFC debut at UFC on Fox 12 where she successfully defeated Juliana Lima by a unanimous decision. She next faced Claudia Gadelha at UFC on Fox 13 where after a very close fight, the split decision victory was given to Joanna Jędrzejczyk. She was next given the opportunity to face then UFC strawweight champion Carla Esparza at UFC 185. In the fight, Joanna Jędrzejczyk stuffed all of Carla Esparza's takedowns and brutalized her on the feet where she eventually finished her by TKO in the second round to become the new UFC strawweight champion of the world. It took her just 2 fights to earn herself a title shot and easily dethrone the champion in her next fight. She has defended her title 4 times and is one of the most dominant champions in the UFC today. Number 4. Holm made a UFC debut at UFC 184 where she successfully defeated Raquel Pennington by a split decision. She next faced Marion Renault where she earned the unanimous decision victory. She was next given the opportunity to face then UFC bantamweight champion Ronda Rousey at UFC 193. Ronda Rousey had defended her title 6 times where she had dominantly finished her opponents. When both Holm and Ronda Rousey met at UFC 193, Holm outclassed Ronda Rousey on the feet where she used her movement to land heavy shots from the outside. She eventually knocked Ronda Rousey out with a vicious head kick in the second round to become the new UFC bantamweight champion of the world. It only took her 2 fights to earn herself a title shot where she was able to capture the world title. She next lost her title against Miesha Tate by a rear naked choke in the 5th round at UFC 196. After that, she lost to Valentina Shevchenko at UFC on Fox 20 and most recently lost to Jermaine Durandamy at UFC 208. Number 3. Brock Lesnar made his UFC debut at UFC 81 where he lost to Frank Mir by submission via a knee bar in the first round. He next faced Heath Herring at UFC 97 where he won the fight by a unanimous decision. He was next given the title shot against then UFC heavyweight champion Randy Couture at UFC 91. In the fight, Brock Lesnar was able to hang with Randy Couture with the striking and the grappling exchanges. In the second round, Brock Lesnar was able to hurt Randy Couture on the feet where he was able to finish him by TKO to become the new UFC heavyweight champion of the world. It only took 1 win for Brock Lesnar to fight for the title where he was able to become the champion. He will next go on and successfully defend his title against Frank Mir at UFC 100 and successfully defended his title against Shane Carwin at UFC 116. He was an incredible athlete where he went on to become one of the longer reigning heavyweight champions in UFC history. Number 2. Quentin Rampage Jackson made his UFC debut at UFC 67 where he knocked out Marvin Eastman in the second round. He was then given the opportunity to face then UFC light heavyweight champion Chuck Liddell at UFC 71. Chuck Liddell had defended his title 4 times where he had knocked all of his opponents out. When both Rampage Jackson and Chuck Liddell faced off at UFC 71, both fighters kept the fight on the feet where Rampage Jackson seemed like the more aggressive fighter. Eventually, Rampage Jackson landed a solid right hook, knocking Chuck Liddell down to the canvas where Rampage Jackson followed up with some punches until the fight was stopped by the referee where he became the new UFC light heavyweight champion of the world. It only took 1 victory to earn himself a title shot where he was easily able to become the champion. He went on to successfully defend his title against Dan Henderson at UFC 75 and next would lose his title to Forrest Griffin at UFC 86. Number 1. Anderson Silva made his UFC debut at UFC Fight Night 5 where he knocked out Chris Lieben with a brutal knee in the first round. He was next given the opportunity to face then UFC middleweight champion Rich Franklin at UFC 64. Rich Franklin had defended his title twice and had looked dominant as the champion. When both Anderson Silva and Rich Franklin met at UFC 64, Anderson Silva brutalized Rich Franklin on the feet with his vicious Muay Thai where he had him in a tight clinch and threw hard knees to his body and threw one in his face, knocking him down to the canvas where the fight was stopped where he became the new UFC middleweight champion of the world. It only took 1 dominant victory to earn himself a title shot where he was easily able to become the world champion. He will next go on putting together a highlight reel of finishes over Yushin Okami, Vito Belfort, Chael Sonnen and many more. He even had success at light heavyweight where he finished James Irvin, Forrest Griffin and Stephen Bonner. He was able to defend his title 10 times in a spectacular fashion. What he was able to do inside the octagon was truly amazing and he will definitely go down as one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time.